Ladies and gents, welcome to the Open Series split number 3, week number 4. My name is Tun, joined by Toby Campbell. We are halfway through the regular season. Toby, once again, absolute pleasure to spend my Sunday evening with yourself. You know, I thought Monaco Grand Prix, end of the Premier League, casting gears with Toby Campbell. It's a lovely Sunday for me. A lovely Sunday.
I love these Sundays, man. I look forward to it every single week. No, it's absolute pleasure again, Chris. And yeah, some more Gears action on Sunday. Can't wait.
Yeah, we've got plenty to get through, so let's start diving into it. The semi-finals are just about starting to populate, so we'll keep you up to date with how that's going on. We should be getting into a series fairly shortly, but we'll be having a look through the bracket in just a second as well to show you who has been competing and who is sitting where. A little bit of news to come on that as well. And well, let's just jump into it. The quarterfinal, TamTam against Brichettes. Unfortunately, TamTam were using a player who is also playing on another team in the tournament at the same time. So unfortunately, TamTam have been disqualified. Brichettes will move on through against PhantomT. On the other side of things, though, EXES Esports will be going up against Fossils and a Frenchman, which is Breaker and Coke, against obviously EXES, who have been dominant so far. But Toby, TamTam, what's going on? Come on, boys. You can surely find somebody. I mean, look, we'll have a conversation about finding people, I suppose. But at the same time, it's a disappointing one.
Yeah, it very much is. I tweeted earlier saying that TamTam were looking for revenge and to try and get the crown back, if you will, on top of EU and get that number 1 spot back from EXES this week after losing to them in the grand final last week. But evidently they needed a player last minute or something, and it's definitely not the highest level of decorum, shall we say, having a ringer come in last minute, because it's just against the rules. So I don't know why anyone's attempted that, to be honest. Is what it is, and you know, if that is going to be what you attempt, then a DQ will likely occur, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things that you hold up the rest of the tournament. That's the problem.
Yeah.
If you're jumping in between, you know, like what happens if you both get the final? Like,
yeah, exactly. It just doesn't make sense, you know. Logistically, it just can't work. It just cannot work either way.
It's not ideal, of course. But yeah, okay. So 8 teams this week as well is something we can possibly chat about a little bit as well, which is again, it's disappointing, and you know, we've kind of been scouting over the issue for a couple of weeks. The teams obviously have dropped down, and I think from an EGL standpoint, we kind of want to know why. We want to know what the issue is for you guys. You know, I know there'll be plenty of you sitting there in the chat right now who usually play, who may not be. We always want to have that conversation of why aren't people playing. You know, we want to make something that you guys do want to play. That's why we do it at the end of the day. What do we think the issue is right now, Toby? Because obviously we went from getting like 30 teams on average during split 2 to now 8 this week, half from what we had last week, Toby. Not ideal.
I don't have the full answer, and I doubt we ever will. I think it's probably a combination of different things, but unfortunately, scrims, just generally speaking, from a general activity level, I was just saying to you that people have been saying for a long time that EU is a lot quieter than it was when we finished on split number 2, and that was before split number 3 even got announced. It seems as though like EU just went into hibernation at that point at the end of split 2, and everyone was just expecting, you know, split 3 to be like something massively different or something. And then split 3 is announced and you know, things ramp up to that. But scrim frequency of the general population of Europe never increased at that point. And I think everything just continued that way, practice-wise. And you still have a number of teams who are, you know, turning up on Sunday and playing in EGL who haven't necessarily been scrimming as much as they used to back in split 2 for split number 3, which is really unfortunate to see.
It is a shame.
So
you know, I'm just going to go on to the point of, you know, from our point of view, obviously, like the support that comes in, for that to get better, we need to see the consistency from our point of view. So yeah, you know, the more people sign up, the better things we'll get, and we just need that consistency over some amount of time. You know, again, from our point of view, we want to do more. We are looking to get more done as well, and you know, things potentially are in the pipeline that are going to improve things. But for that to improve, we need more teams. We need you guys to sign up, and you know, at the end of the day, it has to be the case of everybody, you know, jumping in there to play. You know, you need to want to play at the same time, but again, if we want the region to continue to advance, to get back to where we were when it was Pro League, etc., we need the teams, we need the numbers to be turning up for you guys. So yeah, we want to improve it, we want to keep going with it, but we need the efforts to be there as well at the same time. But it's a big change for a lot of players at the same time. We've moved into two new different game modes. It's a lot to learn, but for me, it was an exciting time. I was looking at it like, wow, this is an opportunity for some of these teams who maybe have struggled over the past, couple of splits. They've not necessarily been anywhere near. It was a really good opportunity for those teams, Toby, to potentially make a dent.
Absolutely so, and from me, right, as a small case study, admittedly, and I am very much on the 3-mode train, right, that I've been scrimming nearly every day since the change up. Literally, just hopping on controller and playing and just scrimming. And bear in mind, I don't usually play on controller, as probably a lot of people know, but I'm hopping on controller just for the fun of the actual scrimming on 2 new modes, right? Just control XE scrims only for the most part, with escalation chucked in here and there. And so it's unfortunate that a lot of players aren't feeling the same way as me. I'm obviously on the extreme end of just saying give all the changes at once. I'm all good with that. But evidently for a lot of players, that's not been they've not been happy with that. It's not been the case. And I know it's something we could actually speak on right now for this week in particular, because this has been like quite a big drop in team numbers. We had Op 7 right on Tuesday. Everyone's playing ranked at the moment. Bossman, I see in the chat now, he's been playing in every single week, right? We're with different teams here and there. He's been awesome, but he's busy right now playing Guardian on stream, trying to get top 10 leaderboards, and I'm sure there's a lot of players who are in that same boat who are trying to grind for leaderboards and stuff. I'm grinding for leaderboards. I've played loads of free-for-alls and such since Tuesday. A lot of players are actually just, enjoying Op 7 ranked this week. So I don't expect us to have this number of teams in the future. I'm sure a lot of players will return after this one. And of course, then there's the teams who simply want to carry on playing ranked today, or have been playing so much of that this week that they've been geared out. There's also the players that are just haven't, they felt like they haven't practiced enough this week to give it their all on Sunday. Some people might feel that way because of the rank thing as well. So that's also a consideration for the 8 teams this week. I think probably a good one to keep in mind. It's not we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater or go crazy, go nuts just because of the 8 teams this week. I think that's probably a very good reason why we've had quite a drop.
Yeah. And again, we're seeing people in the chat saying, like, Bossman specifically saying, like, what the issue is. Talk to us. We've had this conversation. We've had mixed feedback, personally, from what I've seen on Control. That's the thing. We say some people love it, some people hate it. It's what's been brought on the official program. Obviously, we had that information before it came out, so that's why we went in that direction, more so than just making the decision on our own. We were wanting to advance Gears Esports. That's what we've been trying to do. Look, we're not going to get into it now, but what the point of this conversation is that we want to have that conversation. At the same time, if we at some point down the line want to be part of the official program again, it kind of has to be in line somewhat. We can't just completely remove game modes from what the official program's bringing. I'm sure a lot of people would love to play Execution full stop all the time, but it needs to be somewhat parallel to a certain degree. We can't just go on a completely different tangent if we do want the support at the end of the day.
We can do different maps, right? But you can't just do different modes. So that's like way too much of a change. Imagine if we just played escalation now forever, as until that one moment, whenever that might be, if it ever happens at all in the future, where we play where something happens where everything changes prize pool wise or whatever it might be. If we go back on the official circuit, what if then we actually switch to controller execution? That would be such a damaging aspect to Europe. That we would literally be whatever it might be, weeks, months, years behind the rest of the world in competitive esports. What about then if we ever had international majors or whatever? We're just gonna it's all right, we'll just play properly now and we'll practice and we'll go into the 3 modes. It doesn't make that much sense to me, like thinking that way, just trying to hold on to team numbers or whatever, or try and get every single team possible that has ever played before just because they've all played escalation. I don't think that's the way to grow either. Just trying to clutch onto what we have and stick in with the present. And I guess the final point on this that I'd like to make, just to get it in there, if people don't like control, which has been a big talking point for a lot of teams and players, then why not just scrim execution only? Just if you want to get execution up to try and balance your escalation experience, why not just scrim escalation as you would normally for fun? who does it matter? I've not been playing much escalation because I've been enjoying the execution control difference, right? So I've been wanting to play the different maps, see how it works. Whatever it might be, right? Weapon swaps, on different maps, the different potential maps. I'd be really enjoying, this transition period. I like change. Yeah, I'm not against change, so I've been enjoying that. But there's no reason why I couldn't just be playing escalation right now instead, and playing and scrimming as I normally would. I don't think just because you dislike control is a reason to just not play anything at all. Just my opinion. But
we could go on for a while, but we do actually have a broadcast to get on with at the
end
of the day. It is nonetheless a shorter broadcast. Well, it's normal broadcast that we usually do have, but the first game coming up is going to be PhantomT versus Brichettes, which will be coming up very, very shortly. But the important thing for you guys in the chat, of course, is that the Team Phantom skin for this week is now available at Scorcher this week. There you go. If we're tuning in, you get yourself a free skin. I know Toby is there, but a little pleasant surprise that we have a second one coming in the grand finals as well. So do stick around. The Scorcher, though, should be available in your quests to get yourself completed on those, so make sure you are completing them, and we'll get those skins dished out. Again, we'll maybe delve away from that conversation, but I feel as if, we spoke about at the beginning, we wanted to say something in the sense of that, we want to make things better. We want to have that conversation, and let's have the conversation at the end of the day. But that said, now let's get into the games. We'll forget about any negative stuff or me going on rants or you going on rants, etc., etc. We're loading into map number 1 already by the sounds of things here. Toby, PhantomT going up against Brichette. I think PhantomT will be looking at this one thinking, all right, okay, yeah, cool. We should be able to get through this one fairly handily now into those grand finals. It's an interesting aspect for them to have another go at EXES potentially, but they've got to get past Brichettes first.
Absolutely. Brichettes is Chris Oren's team, right? A familiar face from European Gears history, and a very good player of that. I've scrimmed him actually a number of times this past week, and he's got a pretty good team actually. I can confirm it's Blade, who I've actually played a number of times this week actually in ranked. Shout out to him. 60s and Sly Preda as well. These are some really good players, some experienced players, a collection of old school and new school, I want to say. Obviously the old school there for many is Chris Oren, dating back all the way to Gears 3 and throughout UE. Very good player. Curious to see how they get on. Again, we spoke about the 3 new modes, opportunity perhaps for them to take off guard PhantomT, who I know who have continued to scrim a lot of escalation in comparison relative to how much they've been playing execution control. Maybe XE control is a situation where Brichettes can take advantage of, because I know they've been practicing the new modes quite a lot, both individually and as a team. I look forward to seeing how this one plays out.
Yeah, interested to see how it does go, and it's nice to see a new team pretty much on the stream as well. We haven't seen too much of these guys before, so it's nice to have them on board. And going up against PhantomT, as mentioned, who have been putting the practice in, and it's interesting to see if they can kind of break that duck. Obviously, them against TamTam would have been very interesting, but not this week. Maybe another week further down the line, of course. PhantomT, though, it's one of those. Do we ever see them sort of breaking towards X's? We see TamTam get relatively close last week, and I was looking forward to potentially seeing that one again, of course. But for PhantomT, what's kind of the next step for them? It seems to be just they're a little bit off the pace when it comes to going up against a team like EXES, for example.
Yeah, I just think EXES right now are a bit of a dream team in Europe, in the same way that, formerly Elevate, Space Station, Phelpsy, etc. were before. EXES have kind of fit that new mold, if you will, during this, this highly rated TamTam hiatus that they've had these past 2 weeks, until last week, of course. And I think now that they really, really have a huge level of skill, and they've also had plenty of practice on control, and you've got that old school experience in execution as well with all of the players that I think gives them a huge leg up. But PhantomT slaying power wise, we talked about Ricardo a lot on broadcast recently. Scrimmed him again recently actually for Ricardo and the PhantomT boys, and they're as good as ever slaying wise. So maybe, just maybe, if they can take advantage of that and really perform on the day, maybe they can surprise EXES and defeat them.
Yeah, potentially. But we do need to see if they are going to get there, and I do believe we are now loading into map number 1. It is going to be District first, District second, and then Tomb if we need it for execution. We haven't seen Tomb yet. We haven't seen it at all, actually. So it'd be nice to see if we can get a hold of map number 3. But of course, it is going to be District first, heading into, of course, the escalation to kick things off. Which way we think this goes then here, Toby? I mean, it has to be PhantomT, doesn't it? That's kind of the side we are leaning, but it wouldn't be completely out of the question for it to go the other way. Am I feeling that? I'm not too sure.
I mean, they're definitely the underdog to Brichettes. Yes, they're practice. Yes, they're experienced. But I mean, if they can start off strong, if they can do really well in the escalation and cause a bit of an upset, then there is the chance, right? But yeah, most of all, it should be PhantomT taking this one. And I would predict a 2-0 result.
Well, here we go then. Into game number 1 of the day. Brichettes against PhantomT. Not the one we expected, but nonetheless, here we are. And PhantomT looking to get things kicked off very, very nicely, but it is going to be Brichettes. Got that initial control of A and B. Good fight towards the bandstand. Just going to go in their direction. A little bit of control momentarily, but PhantomT fighting back.
Good little save there from Rowdy of his teammate. Changes up everything there on bandstand. Check out these new characters as well, Chris. We were talking about Op 7. There was Crimson Scourge, Death Dancer playing as him. And I believe we also have, was it Ricardo, I think, playing his new character? We'll see in just a second. Preda finding him. Look at this. Triple cap on the cards. Blade and everyone running through Blue Room. And this will be locked in. What a great start.
Fantastic start for Brichettes. There you go. And it kicks off a bandstand. Fantastic work from them to find the kills there. They forced their way through. Looking good. Looking good.
I mean, what more do you want? I mean, Escalation should, in theory, be the toughest mode to beat PhantomT on, given their experience, their pedigree in this mode. And Brichettes being a fairly new team as well, who have scrimmed way more on execution and control, I want to say. And so, yeah, I mean, if Brichettes can do really well on this Escalation, like I said, if they can somehow win this map, then this would really set them up for a potential upset. The hard work is now, though, like I say, gotta try and win this map.
Coming up. It's going to be Brichettes to posture maybe a little bit further up the map. That mid-map control. That's putting in the shots to try and help his team out. Nicely done. Here comes the push through the middle. Which way the fight's going to go, though? Momentarily over towards C. It is pretty even by the looks of things. That's going to continue, and it is going to be PhantomT who find those gunfights, and they are going to be able to potentially extend over towards C. Here comes the wraparound from Death Dancer. Rowdy and Combe able to lock this one in. Let's see if you can just slow them down enough to stop this push coming through. Preda has to go. Can't quite get there in time.
Lovely job. Very nice indeed. Again, Death Dancer, aka Rowdy, putting in so much work at the bandstand, that time without even being there. Just crossing them in the back, that huge amount of damage advantage allows the rest of the teammates of PhantomT to push around on left-hand disadvantage and win that fight down there. Well played indeed. And now Chris RN to place a weapon. Should just be the match of the retro on either side, which could certainly help in this bandstand fight. You know, we followed it 2 rounds in a row. This is typically the vantage point for a lot of teams. If they can just take the other team out and push on for the triple, it changes up a lot. And I think both teams are looking to be aggressive right there. And speaking of new characters, we got 60s playing as the new COG character. I believe her name is Hannah Cole. And we also have Vision playing as Savage Cantus and Ukon on Nestiques as well. Op 7 is doing really well for the game currently. And speaking of doing well, again, PhantomT flying through bandstand this time. They do have right-hand advantage. Up A is coming through. Chris Aran trying to clutch up. 1v2. He needs to jump any second now if his team cannot get there in time. It's not going to help them out. PhantomT, another round in 33 seconds.
Yeah, Brichettes start that one nicely in the escalation specifically, but PhantomT coming back into it and looking a little bit more like what we expected. Of course, retros have been built up, and these are going to start becoming something a little bit more influential. That incense there going to be mirrored on either side, I would imagine.
Yeah. Should be incense, yeah. It has to be really. Like, we've just seen every round now how important this bandstand fight is. It would be foolish to do anything outside of building up that side. Obviously excluding anything drastic on the other end to force players away, right? If you're not going to go all in with the drop shot at cinema or middle or whatever it might be, you have to be able to fight this with more firepower. In fact, changed up a little bit. 2 versus 1 on Bandstand, technically speaking. Ricardo being on his own, but I guess they can change it up just a little bit with that instant to protect. Vision trying to flank through the center with that brand new Black Steel Savage Cantus. Straight out of Gears 4. One of my favorite characters for sure. Now, movement 2v1. Vision will use all the movement in the world to find that. PhantomT with the B-Hill control.
Yep, looking good for PhantomT here. Ever since it initially did kick off this game. Outside of round number 1, they really have been at the races. Ricardo cannot get away with doing that, surely. My goodness me. Domination starting to lock in. He's going to clean up the third of this life. And that will be the third of the escalation over towards PhantomT.
Yeah. PhantomT starting to pull away now a little bit. Ricardo with the 8 kills, of course. 1 more kill than the rest of the team combined of Brichettes. Really, really showing his mark here today. And I'm sure PhantomT will be quite confident, actually, and happy going into this one, Chris, given that they thought they were perhaps playing TamTam for a second, right? Unfortunately, PhantomT, perhaps a little bit more of a momentum boost, I guess, if they can actually get through this in good fashion. Well, they can't forget about Brichette's potential either.
2 rounds away for PhantomT. They made quite light work of these 3 that they have found. Flash is going to go out towards Bandstand. Side 6. Gonna have to. Side Tiz, I should say, gonna have to back on down. Wait, how am I saying this?
60s? I think it's 60s. That's my assumption. I was having this difficulty when I first saw his gamer tag a while back. Yeah. Ah, it's cool. It's a cool gamer tag. Look at this. 4v1, meanwhile. Ricardo, the last man alive. He's trying to reach for a hill. The home hill, that is, of the F side. And there you go. That will come through. Brichettes with another round. 1 round behind, despite that 3-round streak from PhantomT. And the first round of the second half.
Maybe life in Brichettes yet. Voltok's going to start being upgraded as well, and well, we've seen a hellish clip last week. If any of you seen the play of the weeks coming out from, I can't remember, I think it was Dodez on Team Enemies. Ooh, my goodness! I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but the bloke doesn't miss with it. It's ridiculous.
There was actually a highlight before on the UMG stream of EXES going off with it as well. In the right hands, as we could see, as we've seen from Crimson's as well, like, it is deadly, really deadly, and we don't see it a huge amount simply because it gets upgraded very quickly for the more powerful utility. But you know, the Voltok, you can certainly get value out of it before you upgrade.
Oh, Ricardo's done well. He'll find another. He has the talent, this man. Very, very hard to beat in these 1v1s. Lady B going to try and make the push. Oh, he's dipping and diving. Oh, not quite enough, unfortunately. And then see, that is another. I tell you what, we haven't had any long drawn-out rounds here, have we? It's just like a complete capitulation from either one of these teams, and the round's done. 4-2 now.
It's literally all triple caps, right? This is we're literally we're almost playing execution right now. We're just with the weapon placement screen in the middle when teams do play aggressive like this. PhantomT are known to play exactly like that too. This does occur, and you know, 4v4 escalation can lead into more triple caps, I find, given the 1 less player to take out on the map. And even if you lose half the team, right, you've only got 2 players left then at that point, rather than perhaps if you lost 2 before, it would be 3 spread out trying to cover every lane, slowing down a potential triple cap from when we were playing 5v5. So things have changed up quite a lot in recent times. 1 more round to go for PhantomT for this first map.
I'm going to get it locked in here in round number 7. Oh, this is a big push coming in, but I tell you what, 60s has done quite well. The rest of the team here as well, Prida helping things out, and the Steek's going to fall in the middle. Heaven forbid we get another triple cap here coming through. Domination will be threatened, I'd imagine. Rowdy has to do his best, and he can do. Yeah, oh, if he hits that shot, you're talking something a little bit special out of Death Dancer. Vision playing the Secret Man just to maybe defend one of the angles that can be pushed over towards F. PhantomT do not have a lot to shout with. Or shout for. Not quite sure what I'm trying to say. Either way, they're not in a good spot, Toby.
Yeah, I mean, 3 players down bottom now for PhantomT. They want the bandstand back, it seems like. They got right hand through inside. Ricardo taking advantage of that, but 60s is returned. He gets the shot advantage. Ricardo tries to dive in to equalize damage. Not going to happen. 60s with the cross now. Vision in a lot of trouble in the center as his teammate is able to get the kill, though. Just about. 2 members down. They can't self-revive an escalation, unlike other modes. There you go. They're going to tap out now. I think, yeah. They will not be able to get a triple cap as a result, will Bruchette. They do stay alive long enough in the middle. But they do hold on to the 2 hells with 60 seconds to go if they can win by points.
Fight over towards Cinema coming through here. Don't see any big mid drops in a while, and all the Bruchettes win this one. We're going to start getting in that territory. Good shots from Vision here. Can he find a second around the corner? Oh, it's disgusting. E now going to be locked in here by PhantomT. And their eyes are on D as well. That's getting locked in. Chris, not the best spot to be able to do much here, and that's going to be game. There you go. PhantomT will lock this one at 5-2. That'll be map number 1 under our belt. One of the quickest one of the quickest escalations we've seen in quite some time, that one, Toby. 5-2, 1-0 to PhantomT.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, not too unpredictable a scoreline, I guess, but Bruchettes did have their moments, right? It was more down to PhantomT, I guess, clutching up a little bit in the kills department when they did lose the initial, right? We're getting the kills in the center. Death Dancer staying alive for as long as he could in green. Just maybe Bruchettes could have had a few more rounds there if they played the initial just a little bit differently, you know, maybe even just throwing a drop shot the other side when bandstand started looking a bit bleak. Who knows? They caught up with some steam at the end there, but PhantomT, they're going to come on through just as expected.
Yep, nicely done from them, and a lot of quick rounds there. It just seemed as if the teams were very, I'm going to say, aggressive in their defense and attacking side of things. If you were down in a 2-cap, it seemed to be a big firefight come through. Whoever came out on top usually goes on to win that round. There you go. That's map number 1 done here in the semi-finals between PhantomT and Bruchettes. Of course, we would expect EXES to probably get through in the other semi-final. I know he's going up. They are going up against Breaker and the boys, so interested to see if they can go on to do all right this weekend. We haven't seen too much of them, Toby, to be honest. I know they couldn't play last week, but then we haven't really seen them in the semi-finals up until this point. So nice for them to get a little bit of a run under their belt. But I've been told that run is ended because EXES won 2 now. So it's going to be EXES in the grand final. But at the same time, we'll be seeing who comes out on top of this one to see who is going to go up against EXES in that best out of 5 grand final. Of course, with the money on the line here in week number 4. It's looking like PhantomT, though, isn't it? Based on what we've just seen in map number 1. We are really expecting it to lean in that direction, aren't we? I mean, look, they've looked good in the escalation. I'm expecting the control, obviously, to probably last longer than that, which is something that I'm not too used to saying. But it was aggressive rounds. It was an entertaining one, at least, to see. So PhantomT, though, they do look like they kind of have just always progressively got better towards Split 2 season finals. They did really, really well there, of course. And then since then, they've went on leaps and bounds. So just nice to see them consistently being near the top, Toby.
I agree. I think PhantomT for a while was more grouped in with the top 3/4 kind of battle with Breakers team, I think. But ever since they started performing really well in the split finals and just before, right, and for some of the online control tournaments that we had, PhantomT have looked like more of a challenger for the second or first spot in Europe, perhaps at times, because they have that skill power, they have that wow factor. You know, your Ricardo, and all of those players, honestly, I could name them all. They all have very good skill. And for that matter, when they come together as a team and they practice a little bit more here and there, they can be absolutely deadly. And we just saw, right, how escalation can play out, all about initials, all about that shotgun play. If you have just Ricardo going off as his usual self, then perhaps they can just cause the upset on enough initials to just take an escalation map by storm, you know, and it can cause to be something of great difficulty, I think, for a lot of other teams, including the top teams. And the top teams like EXES do have to turn up in order to defeat them.
they're not just going to roll over. You know, we kind of seen this roster. I know it's changed ever so slightly, but you know they're in that like sort of kind of, you know, just to be playing. They're happy to be coming along and playing the game. But then they've just continued to get better. Everybody on this roster has just consistently looked very, very solid on the map. So nice to see from them. But we are going to probably be seeing them going up against EXES. We'll find out after this control, which is loading in very, very shortly. So we've got fans in the chat as well. Love to see
Yeah.
that sort of thing. My goodness me. I'm not going to let everybody go through and translate what they've been saying, but they're being very nice.
Oh, there you go.
Although production are querying whether the translation really worked out in that direction, it could have been maybe missing a word there, but nonetheless, we'll not dive too much into that. At least we're getting some love in the chat, Toby. We didn't necessarily get any beforehand, but loading into map number 2, hopefully it does continue, and hopefully the good gears does continue as well. As I said, X's are sitting there ready, waiting in the grand final. Whoever comes out on top in this series, Control will be coming up in a second. Execution Tomb, if we do need it. I'm up for it. I'm up for a bit of Tomb. I haven't seen it too much. Unfortunately, when I'm potentially going to see it, if Control does obviously go the way of PhantomT, but I'm very much a Brichettes fan for this one coming up. Tomb, what we're thinking, Toby, I know it's top of my head, it's not one that's been used in the official program as of yet, but what do we think of Tomb as a map specifically?
It's a good little map. It was made by Strangulate, of course, former pro. Was in the best team, arguably, at the end of Gears 3 and performing very well in UE and Gears 4, going into 5. And he knows how to make a good map, a good classic map, I want to say. Quite a wide map. I'm not sure if you saw through. You know, that's his defining characteristic of the map. There's a lot of width. You have to be able to travel from one end to the other horizontally. It takes a long time. But it's a good map. It's a favorite map, actually, for the NA side. When they were trying to work out their NA map, speaking to some of their players, right? Like Kenny, for example, he said that Checkout and Tomb are by far and away their favorite maps out of the 5 that they were playing with, such, you know, in amongst Clock Tower, Gridlock, etc. So, you know, that's a really good, that was like an early opinion actually from that side before we started playing with it. And it looks like Tomb is one of the more favored maps in the cycle. So yeah, it would be exciting to actually to see that. And I think with our current swaps, it does tend to be a quite a sprawled out fight, as I said, due to that, you know, horizontal distance between players. Strats, you don't get as many as you do on other maps, but you make up for that with a lot of intense 1v1s and lots of power weapon action. So it's an exciting map. Hope we do see it.
Yeah, hopefully we do. I do believe we eventually have got into game number 2, and we should be kicking things off in just a second. Control District, though, we've seen it plenty of times. It's all about those rotations, the heavy rotations. But of course, something to talk about in Control, the esports variant in this week, Toby. Some little things changed up here and there. For anybody who's not aware, would you like to break down the changes? Because I've forgotten. So I would quite like you to go through them.
Of course, yeah. I mean, first of all, the big one is mitigation DBNO. We no longer have the traditional control Koth DBNO where you can just take out the down very quickly with just a few Lancer bullets. Instead, you've got the same DBNO system as escalation of what we just played, right? So you take a lot more shots at range to try and take someone out. You're advised to get a little bit closer to take the kill. That's, of course, in execution as well. And then I guess other than that, you can suicide when down, just like escalation, to stop timeouts. The set initial hills are stuck now to a single hill every time. So there's less randomness. And also weaponry spawns are on pickup, and they'll spawn a lot less frequently with less ammo. So that can change up things as well.
Yep. A conversation that's been had over the past couple of weeks is something in Control about potentially upping the respawn timers, and well, maybe it'll slow the game down ever so slightly. It was a bit of a race for the togbo between the two teammates there, as PhantomT had a nice breakout. But 10 seconds, Toby, you're a big advocate, I know that, and to me it kind of makes sense. You know, I've seen a poll was put up by Rowdy and Crows. We obviously have been discussing that with a couple of the players, etc. as well. It's a popular one from my side of things. I'm kind of like, yeah, that would seem like the direction to go, but what do you think the theory is behind it? Do you think it will be a good change as PhantomT do continue to go on?
I think so. It's the biggest criticism by far of Control right now is that it's too chaotic or too hectic, and that you don't have much time to react and formulate strats and whatnot. And so the biggest way to influence that is literally spawn timers. There's nothing that will change it like that. Nothing at all. Whether it's mitigation DBNO or power weapons. Even maps, for example, aren't as beneficial right there. And we do have some smaller maps in District and Nexus in the cycle, and that they are certainly helped out the most by the change in respawn timer. So yeah, I think it's a logical step It's either 7 seconds or 10 though in terms of respawn timer. Anything, you know, shorter or longer is just too short or too long. It's kind of finding that sweet spot at this point in time, right, between the two. And it needs testing. 10 seconds does need more testing from teams that are scrimming and control. And then, you know, the community can come to a consensus on whether 10-second plays better. From all that I've scrimmed, finally, and the teams that I've played against, all are pretty much neutral or prefer 10 seconds after playing 3 maps. So definitely something to look out for.
Well, Brochettes will be looking for any kind of change to control to maybe help them in this one, because they currently have 3 points. This has been quite the clinic from PhantomT, who have been putting the time in. And it shows here. Very hard for Brochettes to break, but PhantomT holding this one very, very nicely. 3 inside the hill. Keep them at bay. This is one you can put up a lot of time on. Of course, it can be contested from the other side of things. And that's why Vision now going to start making this push around. Death Dancer's in the middle there as well, but well played by Prida. He's going to be there to try and stop anything happening on the other side of things. Is Rowdy now. Going to put some damage down. Here comes the push from Brochettes. They know they have to move. They know they have to stop this bleeding happening. Hill's going to come in their favor as well, at least under Ricardo, and eventually some points on the board. Doubled it very, very quickly. Let's score total Brochettes. As we move on to the next hill, PhantomT are going to be the first ones here, and this is, once again, one of those that you can pick up a substantial amount of points on, Toby.
That is a perfect nade from Vision. Cutting them off from the spawn just to give more time to the teammates to go wide. And if it does get a kill, which it was likely to, as we saw, then even better, right? Don't need to cut anyone off who's already taken down. Well played from Vision, holding the nades and rotating to that hill. Blade trying to run through, catching them off guard. Well played. Takes down Nesteeks. The nade has been used. Another kill comes on through, so they should have numbers now, do Brochettes. This is a fantastic opportunity for them to get back into the game, as this is one of the easier hills to hold for a long time, with no funny business going on and no kills sneaking on through. That's the final kill. Nesteeks on his own. They are staggered now, PhantomT. There's no reason why Brochettes can't get the rest of these points if they set up correctly.
Let's see. 44 seconds to go here, and PhantomT are going to have to break. This would very much put Brochettes back into the game. And that's the thing with control. It really can swing. You have one good break, and flurry of kills coming through. It makes it very, very hard for PhantomT to try and make this push again to 4 players. And, well, there you go. 2, 3, 4 dead. And that's clean from Brochettes as well. They can start potentially thinking about the rotation over towards the next hill.
Yeah. That was really good. And then the next hill will be Bandstand, the bottom of the map, as we can see them running through there now. 60s will get that advantage as well. And he has right hand as well on top. I think if he has teammates behind him and to follow up on this would be better, but he doesn't. Does it even matter? He takes down 1. Nesteeks will be taken down 2. PhantomT completely crumble in that push on Bandstand. Meanwhile, Ricardo trying to get some kills back on blue. Nope, the back A will come on through from Chris RN. As right now, Brochettes are looking like a different team. They're doing really well at this point. They've got the number of kills between the 2 hills during that transitionary period. But Vision is fighting on through the center.
And down, run forward, find the kill. So clean. Did have Nesteeks in tow as well, but Vision really has been lighting it up the past couple of weeks. Every time we watch PhantomT play, he really is one of the guys at the forefront for this team. Very dynamic in the push, and well, Death Dancer should be dead, and is.
Caught off guard. And Ricardo taking down himself and Nesteeks as well. What is going on? PhantomT have just seemingly fallen asleep this past minute. Mistake after mistake. Starting off with that bandstand push earlier before the hill was even captured. Very confusing. Nonetheless, Brochettes. Perhaps their control scrim practice in this week now is going to start to benefit them, as they're fighting back tooth and nail in this game. It's early on, right? We've still got first to 300 points in this one. But they're not far behind.
Ricardo going to fall. This Vision finds another, but they really are not far behind. Considering after 2 hills, they've picked up the grand total of about 11 points. The fact that they're within 20 really does say a lot about this comeback. Sticks and putting a lot of damage down though. Prida very much getting these points back on the board for his team here, staying alive in this one, but it's about the fight over towards next, which is going to be towards Cinema. It's a straight run up the middle of the map. Look here already in the top right corner, PhantomT. A little bit of a setup. holding it down towards green side more than anything. The Lancers will be out, and here comes the push from Brichette.
Honestly, good job as well from Vision getting the scrap time at the end, allowing his team to start capping immediately over at Cinema. Of course, he knew that his team was set up there and didn't need the reinforcements or the early rotation from everyone. And look at this front angle as a result, you know, pinching right behind. Brichette forced to push on through. Perhaps, yet they will have the numbers advantage there, in fact. 3v2, Death Dancer trying to stay alive. He will be dropped. Another player comes through the front. Vision not going to find that kill. Now, Nestiques and Ricardo are left. Nestiques with the torque bow. If he can get a pick now, that would be so helpful. But here, Ricardo on the flank, in fact, catching one off guard. Will be traded out. Nestiques will surely be dropped here as well. The kills do carry on flowing for both teams as either team attempts to stagger the other.
30 points in it. Apparently these points are going over towards Brichette, though. That grenade's not going to do a lot about Death Dancer, who has to push into the fire, though. It does force him forward. And Blady B will take that one absolutely no problem.
That was lovely. And the quick pick of the nades as well into that push on Death Dancer. Perfect from him. Now already early rotating to find Ricardo there, catching him off guard. Ricardo perhaps a little bit too comfortable there. You know, we're not playing ranked at this point in time. Players do need to be cautious going to the next hill, as you can expect competent players to be rotating very early on for them. Full red blade, knocked down in the process. Still one nade as well, across the wall. Will not get a kill though. Still going off though. 2 kills. Can he make it a third? He's going for it. Nestiques fighting back though with a 2. Ooh. But Ricardo on the flank to get the last kill. Nestiques did all that he needed to there for his team to be the last remaining players. They're going to rotate over from nades. One player in spawn, Secret Manning. They have spotted him. And there you go. The last push from the front. Gorgeous. Vision trying to look for a third. This should be a nice cleanup job for them. Preda full red. And that is the kill. Both teams really scrapping for these last 2 hills, Chris.
Yep, very scrappy from both these players here. Can they lock this one in, PhantomT? Looks like they are going to pick up a decent amount of points here, and, well, Vision pushing forward. They get a hold of the topo on top of that as well. 22 seconds here still. Very close considering the lead that was there for PhantomT. Brichette's, though, not too far away here, Toby.
Absolutely so. 206 to 150. PhantomT, of course, starting to edge it back towards their favor. And the most important bit now is back to that money hill, quote unquote, right? That easier hill to hold on to is the Talon hills on both sides. And they've rotated early. Chris around with the nades in hand. Nestiques could get picked. Yeah, he does. Teammate is nearby. Nade trade out from Chris Oran as well. 3v3. 60's able to push on through, but he's caught off guard. Again, players can't be running in with just the Lancers when that close. Secret Man can certainly occur in this mode, just like in Escalation. Another kill coming on through. I know Blade stuck on his own on tree. Does find one. Pinch from the other. Vision with another double kill yet again. Separating his team from the opponent. Thanks to that slaying power, and they're just trying to stagger right now. They're looking for Preda. Far from the hill, but they want the stagger. They want the other team to be outnumbered when they come in for the next push and not have all their players ready to go in. Now, Nestiques as well. We'll find Blade. Both teams really don't want either of them to set their opponents to set up. They want to carry on pushing on through before the setups do come in.
Yep, that's the thing here for Brichette. They're kind of stuck in getting points, yes, but they can't rotate around. PhantomT very much in control of the map, although not in control of the point. They'll pick up these last few points, push their way through as well. Mystique's getting aggressive. I'm surprised they actually made that push there, PhantomT. They had control in the middle of the map, but ultimately, you are already 20 points behind now. And winning this game. 15 seconds away, I should say now, PhantomT.
Yeah. This new hill, of course, is the center hill, the most difficult one to hold. but can provide a big advantage to teams that are able to get a lot of points out of it. Can be a difference maker, if you will, right? A really good opportunity to get points back if you do extremely well on such a hill. Let's see. PhantomT flying back on through. Utility used, no smokes, just trying to keep with the stuns. And now Death Dancer with 1 kill. The revive does come in. Great setup from Brichette from down bottom and in green, as it makes it so much harder for PhantomT to close the gap and get those really important kills up close and personal with an Asher to reduce the damage being put upon them.
Look at the split side coming in, though. Ricardo shooting from blue, but everybody else from PhantomT coming from green side. If Ricardo can just stay alive here and be a nuisance, it's such a difficult spot for Brichette to be in the middle. Is there enough time left on this one? Just about 15 seconds remaining on it, and all is needed is 7. There's the kills they need, and I don't think Brichette's are going to be close enough. That's going to be PhantomT into the grand final again. Another day with EXES Esports, but a good control performance out of them. Very fast start, maybe a little bit of a lull in the middle, but they finished strong. 2-0. Brichette though, what about decent performance there, has to be said. You know, it wasn't too far off an occasion, but ultimately, PhantomT, the better squad on control, and it's a good win for them.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate actually for Brichette, because I think this was a similar storyline for perhaps for the 1A guys before, is the fact that Brichette just started off slow, right? They started off slow. Yep. They were down, 80-3, I think we mentioned right at the time. That many points down can be damaging when you get to the late game. If you look at the rest of the round, though, points-wise, the advantage, honestly, was towards Brichette's in the score department, you might argue. And so if that you know, if they start off stronger on those first hills and were able to just stop PhantomT in their tracks, essentially, maybe it would be a different game. But unfortunately, it's more like a game of rounds, if you will. You know, the first 100 points is more like 1 round out of 3. If you think of it that way. And so PhantomT just won a whole round before the map really started for the opposition. So unfortunately, it's definitely a factor to consider going forward.
Yeah, slow start is ultimately what could have cost them. Anyway, that's the semi-finals done. We've got the grand final coming up very shortly. It is going to be EXES Esports taking on PhantomT. You don't want to miss it. We'll be back after this quick break with that grand final. See you then. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the EGL Open Series, split number 3, week number 4, grand finals time though for EXES Esports and PhantomT, who have made it to another grand finals. We've seen this one before, Toby Campbell, and we are happy to see it once again. EXES Esports obviously will be the favourite, but PhantomT looking good in their semi-final.
They were looking very good indeed. Quite formidable. We said, they could have been a bit closer on control if they had a slower start than if PhantomT did, but they didn't. They had a very fast start and they were very aggressive. Lots of double kills. The skill is clearly there today for PhantomT. They're firing on all cylinders. Question is it good enough though for EXES? We believe, perhaps they have the skill, perhaps they have the pedigree to beat EXES, but EXES have been dominant these past several weeks.
Yeah, they've looked really, really good, have EXES, and it looks like only TamTam are the ones there with them. Unfortunately, we won't see TamTam in this grand final this week. Already went through that aspect of things, but nonetheless, let's have a think of what the maps are looking like, because they are looking interesting to me, Toby, here. Training Grounds, Escalation, of course. Harbor Execution, Grid Control, or Gridlock. Wait, hold on.
This is confusing. Not sure if that's right. The order. Because there's 2 escalation maps in a row. But expectation, right? I guess is a different order.
All right, yes.
It's just probably the order's incorrect. That's my guess, anyway.
Anyway, we're playing Training Grounds Harbor, Gridlock, Clock Tower, and Nexus. We'll get there in the end, but nonetheless, an interesting map pool, I would say here, Toby. I presume we're obviously going to see Training Grounds first, and then I'm thinking it must be
Gridlock. Execution second, right? I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
Control was one,
Gridlock,
so
then
Nexus,
then Clock.
Nexus,
and then Nexus, then
and
Clock Tower.
then
I think
Harbor, then Clock Tower.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
got there.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, nonetheless, the important thing for a lot of you watching in the stream, another Team Phantom skin is available this time around. It's the Boltag. Lovely stuff. Very nicely done. There you go. 2 skins this week for everybody tuning in to watch. You are very, very welcome. Thank you for joining us once again. Stick around for the grand final. This should be an interesting one, to say the least. I'm curious to see if PhantomT can bring a level here, but EXES Esports have once again been walking through everybody so far. I'm wondering if they do it here again, though, Toby. To be fair, we have seen some very, very good stuff coming from the EXES Esports guys for the last couple of weeks, but can PhantomT find that extra gear that they do need to find?
Yeah, I mean, PhantomT have come very close, right, to EXES. Week number 1, I think it was. They lost by 1 round on Gridlock, right? And we see that today in the cycle, I believe. So that could be interesting, that rematch there. I mean, on that alone and how close the control was on Nexus, which we also will be seeing today, we might have some, times where PhantomT get another close game, but instead this time they actually edge out and win, the extra round or the extra hill in control, because it was literally that was the difference on both the execution and the control maps last time. So maybe we have a repeat grand final there. If EXES aren't firing all cylinders like PhantomT today, then maybe, just maybe, PhantomT can clutch up on those remaining points and find the map victories.
Maybe, just maybe. Training Grounds is what's going to be coming up first, though. We've seen some good things from EXES Esports on this map specifically, although if I remember rightly, they actually managed to lose this one last week to TamTam. I think it was round number 9, but they'll be wanting to start in a very different way. First time getting a look at EXES Esports this week. Expect nothing more than what we've seen in the past 3. Domination in Europe from them, and they'll be looking to try to continue that this week here, Toby.
Absolutely. So, Pains manning the famous Black Steel Savage Cantus, no surprise there. Give the MVP of Europe currently in the number 1 spot on the EGL RP leaderboard, the coveted character. Makes total sense. Look at this for a start, though, from EXES. They are flying into the triple cap area. The B hill hasn't been captured just yet. Ricardo being timed out. No, yeah, there is the push. There is activity over at the B hill. Bounties will open things up again there. Steaks and Death Dancer will not be able to get that in time. EXES absolutely fly through the defensiveness of PhantomT there as they sit right back up top, try and defend and play a bit slower. It simply did not pay off for them.
Nope, not at all. The kills run through very, very quickly. Don't expect any. Well, I say I don't expect anything too crazy.
I think we should, though. If PhantomT have a game plan going into it where they don't want to challenge on the U, then you're going to throw something down early, perhaps in the center. That's a great spot if you want to change up the opening fights dramatically. But instead, I would rather them do that a little bit later and actually fight on that U, because PhantomT as a team have been very, very good at that fight and have caused EXES issues in that very location before. But again, they're not going for it. Instead, they're building up the Boltok on this side. Question is, can they keep EXES at bay this time?
That's the question. He's trying to push forward. Oh, Vision's not in a good spot. The flash comes through.
Insane.
And Pains decimates him.
That is literally knowing the new Gib range to a T. To be able to shoot and jump back right at the edge of the range. Yeah, they shortened it just a little bit. It's probably something like equivalent of like 10%. It's a very minor change, but it has dramatic effects when you're playing with centimeters and trying to judge the Gib distance. But clearly Pains has been practicing this week and has it on lock. Crimsons will find Ricardo with a Gib of his own, and there's a fight for the B. Oh my goodness me! Players standing each other, not sure if they should revive or melee or shoot. 1v1. Pain to try and win his 1v, and boy, does he absolutely crush Vision with an up A. Looks for Nesteeks. This man is on fire.
Oh, it kills me that we never got to see that. Oh, one of the two rated, like when rated on when the Pro League was about, that we never got to see them in one of those majors.
Yeah,
it was like Pain.
so unfortunate.
With Kraft.
especially
you said they could have bloody won it. I mean, they looked so good at times.
The thing is, that's the thing. Pains and Bounces in particular, the top two Italians, if you will, from the classic EXES squad, they have been playing this game so much, putting in so many hours historically compared to the rest of Europe, that they've just been playing loads of like Nasha, like Koth ELOs of their own degree, and matches with just the Nasher involved, that they are just that formidable in that area. And all the pros know who they are, right? From NA, especially Pains. You know, loads of 1v1s Pains has done on stream against pros. They have the pedigree in that department to really just get the edge like no other before, I think. And it eclipses as well the Nasher department area, perhaps, for the classic Elevate on Gears 4. Like, that's how crazy Pains can be.
Oh, they're going to find the kill there, and this is now all of a sudden a PhantomT domination coming through with only 25 seconds remaining for EXES Esports to do something about it. It is going to be locked in. So Bouncers wins an important fight over there, but you can see the whole of PhantomT starting to make their way over. Shot's going to come in though. Vision is going to have to back on down. You've got 20 seconds to play with here though. The PhantomT.
Can they do it though?
Push will start. Yeah, that's a thing. You need your utility up. Flashes, smokes, the kitchen sink is out. Vision's going to be the first to fall. No, PhantomT need to go. 7 seconds. Need to start breaking. Good shots from Ricardo. Oh, finds a good spread on the second as well. But here comes the cavalry, and that will be Pains, that will be Crimsons, and that will be another round over the EXES Esports.
There are not many players you'd prefer in that position for where Ricardo was there in Europe than him. That as soon as you saw him sneak through and be able to get that up A despite the cross, anything could have happened. You know, one more gib, right? That's all it took, really. And then he's in perhaps a 1v1 for a brief moment of time. Close one. Good effort from PhantomT, you know, almost getting the triple cap in that. But again, EXES will clutch up and see it out with Pains sitting on a beautiful 8 kills, 1 assist, and 1 death in just 2 rounds, Chris. This guy seems to be moving and shotgunning just as good as ever, really. And that is a lot of trouble for PhantomT as a result.
Quite good, in fairness.
Yeah, pretty good at this game.
Yeah, quite good at Gears.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it's quite pretty.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I wish we saw more Pains on Gears 4, but I mean, he's fighting for perhaps for like if you were to try and create the best team ever of just individuals, like you'd probably be in there, right? You'd have to fit him in there somehow.
Within Europe, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, in Europe, I mean, yeah, definitely.
100%. He's been doing so well for every single squad that he's on, to be honest with you. He's just so dangerous to fight against. And look, I mean, he can just walk up to play. He just understands it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he understands this shotgun meta, if you will, better than anyone that I know of. Anyone.
Questions would have been asked though, because I mean, a lot of like the old school players will say, you know, this is obviously a lot more fast paced than previous iterations of the game. But even when this one got slowed down, he was still just as good, if not better. It's like he hasn't been implemented. The rough changes that you thought would have fallen his way haven't really made too much of a difference to how good he is.
No, I think his true mastery is just the timing and accuracy and being able to nail that like 100% while moving in such an extreme fashion. It's just a combination of all of them. And Bounces is kind of like that as well. He's like a mini Pains, if you will, which probably doesn't do him justice because he's definitely not like a mini Pains. He's definitely his duo, right? But Bounces has come a long way with just understanding the game to a similar degree and playing a similar playstyle. PhantomT though, checking back in the game. I mean, they are doing really well. Here comes a triple cap potentially. They've got 1 more kill on Crimsons. Cray's trying to save the day, and we'll get the break for now. Pains and Bounces coming off spawn. 3 seconds to go. Numbers advantage. They just need to hit the last shots. Death Dancer will bring down Pains. And a lovely reaction shot to finish off the round in style. Bar a push onto B. 1 second. Oh, he's close. You can see he's in cover. He slid for it, Chris, and he was mid-animation when the round ended. That was a close one.
Oh, the bear. For EXES Esports in that scenario. But still, PhantomT very much deserved that one. Worked for it, got themselves a lead, and what about that from Rowdy? To kick things off. Nice. Get the sticks moving again. Love to see it.
Here's you. Lovely.
I know, mate. Big fan. Oh, here we are.
Oh,
come on.
He's teasing
I'll be
us.
Crimson's telling them, no, don't do that. Come on.
Okay, so last round and a half, right? Incend is built up on that side. I would honestly expect at that point PhantomT to finally build up a weapon down low or something now that you've got the Incend up top. If you're not going to challenge it, you might as well, right? Might as well take advantage of that.
Pains and Co. Getting aggressive over towards C. Don't think the Crimson's impression was really nailed down, was it? I mean, how has he found that? Pains.
Oh my god. It almost seems as though he's playing a ranked match when he does things like this. When he does like crazy rolls and just misses his shot, but he's still got the knife ready. He's not stopping, right, Chris? He just keeps on moving forward. He doesn't have to think about what he's doing because he's already worked out the fight in his head before it's even begun. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Timing, distance. So now it's 3-1. EXES are looking formidable, it's safe to say. I would love PhantomT to change things up weapon placement wise, but it looks like Bouncers might even be ahead of the curve and thinking one step ahead. They've placed an M-bar. There you go. That means they have to get the M-bar. You know, the EXES, if PhantomT are not going to commit, they give away an M-bar now. So EXES really are being proactive, knowing what PhantomT might be thinking. And sadly for PhantomT, they haven't been proactive enough, Chris. I think they should have been placing a weapon a number of rounds ago if they weren't ever going to contest the E-Hill. But now they have to. Now they have to fight for this U because the M-bar's there.
So the M-bar, not quite as precious as a prize as a drop shot would necessarily be, but it's entertaining to see nonetheless. Is that kind of the theory from PhantomT?
Yeah,
if
and
you lose the fight and necessarily haven't lost as much as you would have if a drop shot went down.
True, very true. I think EXES want the M-bar there. They don't want to put a weapon in the hands of PhantomT that if they did somehow start contesting that they would get a win on the board, right? I think they don't want to have it that volatile the fight, but they do want to give themselves something if PhantomT don't commit, or at least force them to commit. M-bar's probably a good choice there.
PhantomT are the ones who win the initial here, though.
4v1 as well.
Follow-up fights, yeah. Uh-oh. Raised. Have to lock this one in. If he can even find one kill, it will be quite something. Well, he falls down, does find the drop one into Steak. Still not help his team get on through. It's not looking likely. It's another round for PhantomT. 3-2 now.
Yeah. Lovely job. Death Dancer, meanwhile, sitting on 14 kills. I think that's more than anyone in the game, if I saw the scoreboard correctly. So, you know, he's flown under the radar a little bit now as that man, as we've been talking about EXES performance as a team and Pains in particular. And now, yeah, there it is. 40, double the kills of Bouncers. We haven't even mentioned it. He is doing really well as Death Dancer. He's the man with the Incend as well. Question, PhantomT, are you going to commit? Yes, you are. 4 players up top, Chris. They are committing fully to this push.
That's a shot. Oh my goodness me, that's a big Incend. And that'll probably dictate how this round goes. M-bar now in the hands of Pains, which is a terrifying, terrifying prospect.
He could be the best M-bar player in Europe for all we've seen. We haven't seen
much
much
He might just
M-bar.
be the best player in Europe.
He is definitely the best player, but if we're trying to get specific and trying to nail everything down, then... Yeah, I've seen some crazy clips from Pains with this weapon. Nice check. Not the headshot, though.
None down. Doesn't want to lose the M-bar. Oh, there you go. Ricardo obviously already
my
weak.
God.
What is that second shot?
Was he trying to reaction shot with the M-bar then? He didn't even switch to his national. Did you see that? Yeah, he was actually looking for the reaction shot if he wasn't given there. He was literally showboating. My goodness me, Pains. What a start. Vision. We'll find that. And that's the funny thing, right? If someone else did that at that point in time, we would have been like, all right, come on now. You're showboating. But I kind of feel as though Pains at times deserves it, some of the stuff he pulls off. A little bit of freedom. Anyway. Lovely. Lovely defense from EXES there, shutting them down, but PhantomT over towards the hill.
Let's go, bouncers. Let's see if he can push forward and try and find something here for his team. Finds the first, doesn't need to find the sticks as everybody else is there. PhantomT do well, though, to get back hold of it, but EXES Esports are there to trade blows. And EXES Esports are the ones who are quite happy. Look in this 2-cap, they do it on a 1, just about. Time is ticking down for PhantomT. We're going to need to see a domination or something very, very close to it. Bouncers finds 2. That should be the round. EXES looking good here. 4-2 is going to be the score now, unless absolutely miraculous turnaround from the sticks is going to happen. Not going to be happening, though, because Crazed outguns him, and that's going to be a swarm win condition of 1 second. It's going to be locked in. EXES 4-2 now. Looking very, very solid here in the grand final. PhantomT not without their rounds, though.
No.
It's one round difference. It's a 1 swing. That's all it is.
It is. It is. Death Dancer, as mentioned, 14 kills. Right, he's putting in some work. All right, now again, the edge seems to be the incend at times for this U fight. It makes it so volatile. You know, when it comes down to one incend making all the difference, it changes everything. But there you go. Both teams are going to disable it. Have that pure fight for the Ember that, of course, PhantomT should just commit to once again. Question is, again, are they going to go for 4 up top this time round without the incend being in hand? Yes, they are. EXES as well. All-out fight now for this weapon and perhaps the round.
Ricardo going to have to back down. That flash was quite deadly. Look at the shots coming in over the top. Mystic's the first to follow, and will the rest go with him?
4 dead.
Yeah, there's 4 dead. And that might be the first map going over towards EXES Esports. Respawns now just coming in. Nah, there's no way. There's no way they make it there, surely. Domination going to tick in, although they might. Well, capture that one, and well, the fight is going to go in a couple of different directions. And Crazed from downtown with the Ember will help them out. That is a relatively quick game of escalation. EXES Esports 1-0 up in the best out of 5 grand finals. Very, very strong performance and comfortable, to say the least.
Yeah, most certainly so. Pains was going off, but in the end of the day, statistically, the rest of his team were going off just as much, if not more. Right, and so that really goes to show it when you just laser focus on one player going off, while the other team is statistically doing just as well. Goes to show how good the team is doing overall, right? If anything else, so well played, EXES. They're looking really, really good, Chris, and quite scary times actually. PhantomT. Speaking of scary, they didn't even commit to a fight until the Ember was forced upon them, and they were forced to go in. Yeah. You know, they were psychologically they're perhaps not as confident as usual. They for me, Chris, PhantomT is a good U team, good team at the U fight, and so for them not to commit from the get go, that's a sign perhaps of things to come. If they aren't confident in that former strong point against EXES, maybe they're just trying to cut their losses because now the EXES just seem too good there.
Yeah, very, very well played from EXES Esports there. As you said, it's kind of across the board, just solid for them, isn't it? You know, they can go to that U fight, they can easily go toe-to-toe with anybody, but even when it isn't that being forced, they look very, very good. In other aspects of escalation, I mean, where's their weakness? I mean, we've seen PhantomT took an execution. No, it might have been around number 11, actually, if I remember specifically, or at least a very, very close game last time these two played on Gridlock, which is going to be an interesting one. I do believe we will get there as well. I think that's actually going to be coming up next. So Gridlock can be coming up next. We often see, I think it was actually Vision was trying to get a hold of that long shot as quick up the sniper as quickly as he could.
And Pains was doing super, super well.
The thing Pains was doing well against it, yeah.
I just checked the score. It was 6-5 EXES last time. It was EXES that won it.
It was close, yeah.
Yeah, and that's it's unfortunate because they were doing so well with PhantomT. And I think the thing I was harping on about this in week number 2 weeks ago, was the fact Payne just kept doing 1v2s to snipe where he had no business doing so. He was outplaying the other team when really it should have been his team taking advantage of the numbers disadvantage at Snipe Tower and winning elsewhere with their advantage on Boomshot, right? And so if PhantomT can, understand now with all the practice since then and playing that map itself, that they can't allow Pains to do that, right? They just can't. They cannot allow Pains to take rounds away in situations he absolutely should not be. And so, with that in mind, perhaps they don't allow any of those rounds to go. Perhaps PhantomT even do a lot better than 6-5 winning themselves as a result. So I'm curious to see if they've actually learned from that map. Above all else,
Yeah.
can PhantomT win this one?
Yeah, well, we know they have the tools to do so, and it is, I think, going to be about that sniper fight, really. I mean, when we seen PhantomT get a hold of the sniper, that's when things kind of were going in the direction. If they did get that, you wouldn't necessarily think it'd be as influential as the boom shot, but really, they did really good work with it last time, and I think it was Vision who come up with a couple of good shots last time around. So let's see if he can do that one once again. I do believe we are loading in, and we should be jumping in just a second, but it just sort of it puts the question up of EXES Esports. Who's going to be there to beat them? I know TamTam drove them close, and we will see that fight once again, probably further down the line. But other than that, I'm struggling to come up with names. To be honest, Toby, it's very, very difficult. I know there's obviously less people playing at the moment, and you would argue if you did see a return of people like Phelpsy, etc., maybe they could put a team together. Marsh, what's he going to be doing after exam time, which I do believe is pretty much nearly done and is it done and dusted? You're examining at the minute.
I finished this week. I finished on Wednesday, the day after Op 7. I was not happy about that, Chris. I'll tell you. I wanted to just grind leaderboards from Tuesday, but anyway.
How long have you got left, Toby?
I'm done. That was my last exam on Wednesday. I'm done now.
What,
I'm
the
free.
full stop? Done uni?
Oh, not for uni. No. Got years to go yet, mate.
Years to go. Oh, are you on one of these like 15-year long courses?
I switched degree. Yeah, I switched degree, so I'm a little bit delayed in that sense. Yeah.
In Gears, is it now? Is it?
Well, imagine I just switched to Esports degree, one of those new ones. That would be a story.
Well, not. Well, yeah. Production asking if it's in weapon swaps. Alexis Esports do not need a degree to be very, very good at this game. There's a 1-0 lead for them immediately off the rip. 27 seconds it took, and it was relatively clean. Only Crimson's dropping.
I was worried for a second that the weapon swaps were wrong. I was like, wait, what? Were the weapon swaps wrong? Hold up. But no. And if you're wondering as well, Chris, the weapon swaps, the default swaps have changed. I think with the update on Op 7, a lot of the maps, this is the case on checkout, instead of the hammerburst / boltok tower you have now, or you did have, you have flashes there instead. Some extra utility to help with clutches, which is a good little change.
Drop shot going to go over towards PhantomT. Oh, Ricardo going to get caught off guard. That's going to be pains on the sniper now. Mystique's caught in the middle of nowhere. I think he sees that on the bottom left corner. Massive pains with the sniper next to him and goes, oh my god, I'm in the open.
Oh, he got the boom shot out. This changes things. It would be dire without this boom. Doesn't have a shotgun, mind you. Never ideal to swap your Nasher for the boom, but it's become a lot more popular these days, given the extra potency that the Nasher has, the range and the gib range, if you will. That more and more players have started doing this. So rare to see such a pickup in XE, by the way, swapping your Nasher for a boom back on UE and older games. But now Gears 3 and newer games have started happening. Meanwhile, 4v2, of course, the ring will spawn the center line, so onus is on PhantomT to make the play.
Let's see then. As overtime will start in 30 seconds. I think this might be the first time we see the ring spawn. Toby, I'm so excited. Oh, maybe not.
No. Vision has just been taken out. He doesn't have the boom either. They swapped it, of course. Mystique's now had it. He's used his last one. I think he's looking for a snipe at this point to some way see if he could clutch up. I don't know.
Help me.
No. Help.
Please help me.
Peace. I surrender, sir. Just still trying.
What do you mean? He couldn't have used the Lancer there?
What are you doing, bro? You can take these on. Trapped in spawn. No, I said this in the scrim the other day. I want there to be an emote where a player can stick like a white flag out just from the side. So that you can kind of be like behind cover and then just stick the white flag out to almost surrender. And all you can see is the forearm and that.
Stop.
2-0 access. Let's see. Stratwise again. Pains on his own. 1v1. Right hand. Great stun on Ricardo. Huge advantage. He should be able to get the snipe now. Ricardo has to look back, see if he can get back in there. 2v1. Those bounces get to nades as a result. Pains is out though. Power weapon advantage EXES as they also get the boom shot, and Craze finds vision. Nice little trade out. 3v2. Worthwhile, if anything, as the rest of his team have the snipe and nades.
I haven't seen Pain take one yet. Come on, step it up. There's another kill, and now Death Dancer in a 1 versus EXES. And that is 3-0. This has been very, very different to the last time we've seen these two play.
It is, yeah.
Very, very close. Back and forth. Right now, Rowdy doesn't have any score, never mind the kill, so...
Yeah. I think PhantomT might be a bit more flustered this time around than they were last time, as that was a very aggressive TG, you know, regardless of the round count. EXES just looking really strong this week. Really, really strong. And maybe EXES have been practicing this boom fight a little bit more. Perhaps that's the case as they keep winning down bottom. Let's check that fight out now with Nesteeks. Lovely pick. I thought that would have got a stun, but doesn't matter. He will get the kill on Crazed, staying alive. Looking for the double. I'll just get one instead. 4v2, one player in the center. Crimsons gets a kill, mind you. Finding Death Dancer. Where's the second? Pains, he's flanking. He's flanking, doesn't matter. Ricardo just about turns around in time. PhantomT finally with a round on the board.
There we go. Lovely stuff as well. 3-1 now. PhantomT trying to get themselves back into this one. About time. And we know they can hang on this map as well, Toby.
Yeah, we know it. We know it very, very well indeed. That was a super entertaining gridlock last time. Let's see if they can get back into it. Of course, it's first to 6. They have a bit more wiggle room than in older EXES, or it's first to 4 or 5. Pain's in his own. No funny business now, where Pains can just run back in and kill 2. He's challenging 2. He doesn't care. He downs 1. He gets 1, looking for a second. Even getting 1 kill is just absurd. Absolutely ridiculous. 1v2 now for Bounces to try and clutch up. Nade is thrown. Ooh. Vision with right hand jumps straight back in when that nade explodes. And back A's the player. Well played indeed from him.
Maybe we do have a game on our hands now. PhantomT with 2 very, very quick rounds under their belts. 3-2 EXES now.
Right. Chris, I'm fed up. Pains is still getting 1v2s. Like, he's still challenging. You just can't allow it to happen. You've got the snipe, now just stay alive from him. It's a mistake. If as much as Pain's going off, do not allow it. Nades in hand for bounces. Pain's still pushing though.
Pushes.
The confidence.
Just pushing. I mean, even the left hand there. Yeah. Not an easy push, and he was considering it.
Nice angle from Death Dancer. Look at this for a pinch.
He's done well.
This should be a play. Oh my goodness me. Crimson's just got a kill though to stop the boom pickup. Nesteeks is pushed on through. He gets the boom. Does get the kill on Craze once again. Wins that 1v fight, if you will, at Arch. That outplaying for the boom. Nesteeks is victor once more. 1v2. Pains with snipe in hand.
My brain is ticking away. This would make plays of the week if he pulls this one off. So make my job a little bit easier here with Pains.
The beauty of EXE. Let things slow down for a moment, and clutches like this can even be chanced.
We've got plenty of shots left. Now, I'm presuming the ring's probably going to spawn down next to Boom, although they're maybe not going to take that chance. PhantomT, Nesteeks is closing the angle, and he's the one you've got to be worried about if you're Pains. It's one shot into Death Dancer. Surely the Boom's coming in. Oh, he has pulled it in, and he's whiffed it, but it doesn't matter. Pains pushes forward. Tries to be aggressive. 3 apiece now. Seeing it was so close.
It was.
The play of the week, it was so close.
PhantomT fighting back though, and Nesteeks doing a much better job on the boom shot, it must be said. Death Dancer probably, honestly, doing the most value, producing the most value for his team there. That pinch on boom shot perhaps just set it all in motion for the dominance to fall, if you will. That boom shot play and pick up from Nesteeks as a result. And the kills there. Again, strat-wise, 1v1 Ricardo this time being aggressive. Does it matter? Pains goes for the up A, just about misses that, goes to the left. Ricardo with snipe in hand. 4v3. PhantomT need this round. Check on bounces, not going to be a headshot, does it matter? Looking for the head, and he finds it. Great shot. And Crimson's to fall as well. PhantomT are in business. 4 rounds in a row, Chris.
Oh my goodness me, that was very, very quickly turned on its head, this game of execution. And that said, it was very close last time round as well. The fact that we now have a close game on our hands after it was EXES Esports finding 3 in a row. PhantomT answer back and go one better with 4 in a row from themselves. 4-4 now. Or 4-3, I should say. 4v4 at the top of the screen. I'm wondering if the fight is going to change up. It's 2 apiece up towards Sniper. So there'll be absolute hell going on up there. Pains is going to drop again.
That's huge.
Reds is going to go in. He's going for the... Oh, and he's going to drop immediately as well. Surely this is a Phantom... Well, it is a PhantomT round. There has to be a 1v4 on little bounces. And, well, for all I respect his Gear's ability, I don't think it's quite at that point. And all of a sudden... That's 5 in a row for PhantomT. A 3-0 up for EXES Esports. I thought we were downstairs within 20 minutes here, Toby, but my goodness, they really have turned around. And PhantomT 5-3 now.
I thought you were going to say PhantomT are down bad now after the first map, but no, my brain is playing tricks on me. They are certainly not down bad. 5 rounds in a row. They're trying to win this map right now. Oh, the roll-in's not going to help Ricardo, or rather help Pains. Ricardo dodges the shot, gets him for red. Change of strat though again. EXES, you know, they love changing strat when it's on the tiebreaker, or at least, you know, the last potential round for them. They do it each and every time. Boom shot picked again from Nesteeks, taking down Craze. He has had the better of the battle, and there's the second kill on the Craze. Nesteeks has perhaps won this final round thanks to his plays of the boom shot. Pains has to go off. He has to find this 1v. He can't. That will be it for the second map. PhantomT, 6 rounds in a row after losing the first 3. What more can you say? PhantomT, what an incredible map from them.
Very, very well played. The first 3, they make the switch up. Oh, I really did they. I think it doesn't feel like they maybe changed too much about what was going on. They just started winning that fight up top towards Sniper. That little bit more. Nesteeks had a really good time of things over towards the boom shot as well, and all of a sudden we will at least see 4 maps in this grand final once again. It shows that EXES aren't untouchable, in fairness, but I think it kind of falls in their play style. Very, very aggressive still on execution, and some teams might catch them out if they are trying to be too aggressive, and in that case they were caught on maybe a couple of times. You know, Pains gets that confidence, you're 3-0 up, you've been winning your 1v1s. All of a sudden, maybe the changes come through there for PhantomT, and it becomes a little bit more difficult to win those 1v1s. You start falling. You're like, okay, well, we'll get this round. Okay, well, down again. Let's get this round. And all of a sudden, the rounds are just slowly slipping through your fingers. Very well played from PhantomT, though. Adaptations, maybe not necessary, but, you know, they started winning their fights where they needed to, and very, very well played. 1 apiece now, Toby. Interesting series on our hands. Now we're heading into a control, which I believe will be on Nexus coming up next. I mean, last time around, how good was this? It was so close for PhantomT to go on to win it. It took some very, very clutch players out of the likes of Crimson's to bring this one back for the side of EXES Esports. So maybe PhantomT have got something on the cards here. This one was, as mentioned, very, very close last time. Not sure which way it's going to go this time, though, Toby.
I've got it noted down. 5-point difference.
Yeah, it was not a lot.
5 points, literally 300 to 295 in EXES's favor. And last time, again, it was 6-5 EXES on Gridlock, right? But this time it wasn't. It was 6-3 PhantomT. Perhaps that might be a sign of things to come. Of course, EXES won map number 1, so we will see that 4th map coming in at the very least. Question is if PhantomT can win this one. You know, are we looking at PhantomT taking the advantage and taking a potential grand final today? That would be huge if we saw it. My goodness me. And it could potentially happen given their performance last week. And I think just touched on Gridlock for a second, right? I think we've perhaps found PhantomT's best map, right? It just simply going 6-5 in week number 2 grand final and losing by a round before is a statement in of itself. But they right there were able to finally contain Pains and not give away rounds time and time again to him. Ricardo just went toe-to-toe with him in the end, right? Was winning straight 1Vs against him, or at least holding him off. And then suddenly it's 6-3. So maybe PhantomT have always just been good at Gridlock, but now they've just shut down that pains factor, and the round difference has shown that as a result. I think that's a very interesting map going forward, especially given EXES are crazy good at checkout. We're seeing some map difference between these top teams already.
Yep, and we won't see checkout, of course. Having a look at the rest of the maps, it will be Harbour next, so we're at least going to get to see Harbour and Escalation, obviously, as well, and then we will get to see Clock Tower to finish this up. I don't think we've seen Clock Tower yet.
No, we haven't, and it's one of my favorite. Actually, I think it's one of the community's favorite maps. Right, I mentioned Checkout and Tomb being some of the two favorite maps stand out for the NA LATAM side, who have been scrimming and preparing for the new season. But no, Clock Tower is actually one of their favorites too. But I think, especially in Europe, Clock Tower is perhaps 1 and 2 for a lot of teams as well. Checkout is definitely the favorite over here, as we mentioned before. How often we've seen it, and EGL is a testament to that. But Clock Tower is a fan favorite as well, and it's a very interesting map. We've seen it historically. It plays like a very unique map of itself, with all the angles and such up top on that battle for mid wall and snipe. I hope we get to see it, Chris, because I'm entertained again between these two teams on these 3 new mode setup. Nexus, looking forward to it. I hope it's another close one.
Yeah, hopefully it is. EXES Esports in that one, you kind of look at it and say, are you maybe banking on Pains winning those fights too much, maybe putting too much in? We've seen in the very final round that they actually sent some support up there with him as well. So, maybe in that sense, they're like, okay, well, maybe we should have done this a little bit earlier, but it's all a learning lesson, of course. But here we go. We're nearly ready to get into map number 3. Nexus is up and loading, and into the control we will be going in just a second. I would say it is, out of the 3, my favorite one, personally, in terms of watching, at least anyway. The rotations kind of make sense. And I don't know, I don't think anything's been changed on this map specifically. I know you were saying that some changes had come through to some of the hills on control. Nexus, though, has anything changed on this one?
No, nothing's changed. But the starting hill, I believe, is static. And so, as you can see, perhaps this is the new static hill. This is the start, right? And so curious to see how teams adapt to perhaps start the same rotation, that same order a little bit at a different point in that, that cycle of hills as we rotate through the map. So far, PhantomT are now back on the COG side, and they are winning the initial, it seems like. But I say that, EXES just run through the front door, 4 players off spawn. Nestiques did a great job, though, of finding that 1 kill. But EXES are here to play. Crimson's with a double, Pains with a 3rd. Just as I thought, PhantomT won the initial. EXES were flying back in and battling for it immediately.
Looking at the rotations and which way we need them to go. Not necessarily thinking about that too much now.
Oh, lovely.
Shots through from Mystiques, well played. It's going to fall immediately, though. It's going to be EXES Esports who come away with a small advantage from the first hill. Moving over to next. We go in a second. I mean, that was like a fadeaway. Oh my word.
That is the purest reaction shot I've probably ever seen, just from someone else's point of view, that is. That was so good. Look at this.
It was like he wasn't even looking at them, and then suddenly he didn't have a head.
Just death approached you. That's all. Just nothing happened but your death. Oh. Pains. Oh, is shot down by Death. So the trades are constant from both teams here. As the dust settles, PhantomT have the short spawn from the nades to try and challenge EXES here. Crimson's picking up that hammer boost. Big fan of the secondaries, of course. We know how good he is with the Boltok. Always likes to pick these up, unlike other players. Another player flying in. Ricardo, great damage on Crimson's as he reaches for cover. He has damage on Vision. Vision trying to go for the up A or back A, though. Crimson's reads it like a book, though. No damage put his way. Issue for EXES, though, while all this is going on, PhantomT still are having that short spawn, right? This is the short spawn, that nade area where you can see the COG side approaching from. And that's what you really want to try and take advantage of in control, is to try and take control of the short spawn to either get the spawn for your team, but also in this process, block it from the other team too.
It's about forcing people away, isn't it?
Exactly,
Keeping them as far away as possible. Making that transition period just have to last a lot longer. Oh, Pains' misty shots will eventually does make them land. Look at this. Look how EXES just forced their way through the rest of the map. 15 seconds left to play with.
This is what map control looks like. Yep, if, exactly. As soon as you get the setup or you get the kills, then you can start spreading out a little bit if you're good enough. This is a team that is good enough to do it and not just rely on pure setups. Of course, the rotation's already begun from the rest of the EXES squad as they push across the left. Look at this, a conquest up top for the traditional spawn onto Ricardo. Height advantage. The two-pronged attack as Craze pushes through with Pains, with Talkbow help as well. Death Dancer will be collapsed upon. That was absolutely perfect from EXES. You could see the rotation and the collapse on the X-ray vision. They had that perfectly down.
Yep, phenomenally done. No complaints from the EXES Esports fans about that one. Now, PhantomT, well, you need to try and do the same back. They broke through, they got the spawns, EXES. PhantomT, though, you just run into the fire. Seems that way. Mystique's vision, Ricardo, all dropping. At least momentarily on Ricardo's part of things, but Death Dancer going to go, Ricardo going to go. That's a 4 wipe. EXES Esports can now get a bit more real estate, and Craze can find more kills. There's 1, 2, 3. Ends up Mystique's. And they can just expand themselves out a little bit. Make it harder for PhantomT to try and make this push. I mean, if you're PhantomT, you're coming off the spawn, and instead of being all the way up the map and then just having to find one break, you're not just going to kill EXES here. You're probably going to have to kill them a second time by the time you get to the hill. It's going to happen though. Crazy and Bounce is now going to go down. EXES Esports now just forcing them away. But moving over towards next, PhantomT are going to have control. To be honest with you, they just don't have many points. It's a very, very significant lead of 150 points here for EXES Esports.
EXES have had such an amazing start here in this new map that they're literally halfway through the map. Literally, you know, 160 now over the 150 mark.
Yep.
And PhantomT have to just somehow get enough points to return and get back into the map. They have some time, you know, they do have time to work with. A great hill on this middle one would be a big difference maker. Of course, EXES have always been the team that gets the big chunk of points in the center to differentiate themselves from the opponents, but PhantomT can do it back. That would be huge. Craze lurking. They're not aware. I'm not sure why that's not called out. And Estique was completely caught off guard. Death Dancer trying to stick that for his life. Craze not giving him at all any easy sticks today. The fight for this middle hill does continue. Oh, wow.
I mean, look at this from Crazed. I remember way back when the Pro League kicked off, he was very much seen as the best player in Europe. I don't want to say that he fell off in any aspect, but he was just so hard to deal with and looking a little bit more like that Crazed right here. His team are going to be here to help him clean up as well. That's a lot of points still going over to EXES Esports. Already trying his best to get back into this one. Mystique's will be back into the fight. 20 seconds remaining here on the middle hill, and this may well turn into one of the quickest control games you're likely to see.
They are not letting up, are they, EXES? They are fighting back with an absolute vengeance after Gridlock. I can't remember the last time they lost by double rounds, right? Whether it's escalation or execution, right? It's certainly a statement they're trying to make here on Nexus. PhantomT had the rotation, but they do not have the spawn to play with. And look at this collapse from EXES. No utility necessary. They just split up and collapse perfectly instead on that one cover. Frags picked up now for EXES. They're going to start blocking the spawn on the left. You can see them spread out a little bit. Try and locate where the enemy push is coming from. And PhantomT have to work out, are we just going to go all in on through the front, through this tight choke point, or are we going to try and rotate round? You have to work this out. Frag grenades, Pains trying to push up and get in that angle. The crosses start coming in. Vision will find Death Dancer, unfortunately, along with the kill himself. And now a big shotgun fight's coming on through. Everything is working out amazingly for EXES.
Yep, it looks very, very solid for them here, doesn't it? Let's be honest. You do struggle to see how PhantomT are going to get back into this one. It is over 200 points. That's around 3 minutes of hill time. 3+ minutes. Oh, and there you go. Speaking of threes, that's 3 kills, 1 grenade coming on through. That should be game. Phenomenal from EXES Esports. PhantomT, as mentioned, you need what? Top of my head, nearly 4 minutes in the hill, uncontested, and that's to get even close to where EXES Esports are right now. Crimson's lighting things up in the middle. That's going to be the Talkbow over to his side.
He wants to talk. Pains just wants to talk with his teammate and just lancing him down. He knows it's over. But, yeah.
Well, EXES Esports against PhantomT. Last time around, this map was Well, disgustingly close. PhantomT hit 295 before EXES Esports came back and fought back immaculately. But that is 8 minutes of control PhantomT will want to forget about.
I tell you what, you have to be screaming and practicing control if you want to beat EXES consistently on this, or come consistently close. Looks like EXES have been practicing control plenty, honestly. Meanwhile, PhantomT perhaps not as much, it's safe to say, based on that performance there, after what was a very strong map too. Honestly, we were setting up PhantomT for more success on this map than previously. Not that difference, that contrast of what we saw previously. So
it was super close last time.
5 points? 5 points. That is what? One hill is 75 points, Chris? Yep. 75, and there was a 5 point difference in the end. I mean, that's how close it was. And yeah, unfortunately, PhantomT, that just wasn't it, right? That performance there on EXES had that unlock. They have definitely been playing plenty of rank control and, you know, being the same settings, 300 score, first to one round perhaps this week. And perhaps they've been scrimming a lot of control as well, as they seem to have upped their game a little bit from what was previously a very good game on control.
Yep. Really, really well played by EXES Esports. We'll be heading into a map number 4 with an EXES Esports 2-1 lead, I should say. And it could be over here on, I believe we're going to be moving over to Harbour, which was a good map, if I remember rightly, for EXES in the previous season, although the team obviously a little bit different. It's hard to say, isn't it? It's one of those that can be, I don't want to say cheesed away a little bit by PhantomT. It can be played in a couple of different ways, Harbour, but it's hard to see a way back in after that kind of result on control. It's possibly a bit hard to come back from.
Yeah. I think EXES have much more advantage in escalation than the other modes, despite all the practice, just because EXES have been the top dog in Europe for so long on escalation, right? Yes, highly rated. We're number 1, right? And they won the split last time for sure. But there's been a lot of time since the last split ending and the start of or where we are now in split number 3, week number 4. So yeah, EXES advantage now, 2-1. When you have such a great victory like you did on Gridlock, where you win 6-3, and then you just go absolutely get slaughtered in the map following, that has to be a absolute sledgehammer to your confidence, Chris, going into the next one following.
Yeah, it really does. I don't see a route back for them now. I'd be surprised, but I want to say, you know, map number 1 escalation was relatively comfortable for EXES Esports. I think they lock in number 4 here for the Open Series split number 3. I'd be surprised if it didn't go in that direction, but you know, stranger things have happened. But once again, thank you to everybody who has been hanging out this evening. Plenty of you in once again. Double skins this week. We're just very kind in that respect, aren't we? It was obviously the Bulltug and the Scorcher coming through this week, so make sure you are claiming them. Do your quests on the Livestock as well website. So yeah, thanks to everybody who has come to hang out. And this could be the last map of the week here, Toby. Interesting to see if PhantomT can turn around, but it is very much feeling like an EXES Esports win. What is it over everybody else that they have at this moment in time? Is it practice, just raw talent, a bit of both? It kind of feels like a multitude of things.
Yeah, I think this is just this is kind of the all-star roster at the moment, right? Until TamTam get to back to previous form where, you know, they were with highly rated and whatnot, regardless of whether the Hydron stays on or whether Marsh comes back and they reform or whatever it might be. Once they get back to the original form through whatever means, whether it's just up in their practice and compete in, you know, more weeks, then perhaps there'll be a bigger challenge for EXES long term because that team has the pedigree. Meanwhile, perhaps if EXES just slow down on their practice and don't really, you know, keep up with control and execution as it further develops, maybe that's an opportunity for PhantomT and whoever else to take advantage of. I know Zenex, Breaker's team, right, have been scrimming a fair amount of execution in particular, less so control, but still, you know, still pulling the hours. I've scrimmed against him myself. Perhaps they can take advantage of the situation. You know, Breaker and those guys and Saki and the rest of the team, they've been fighting so long in that kind of for that 3rd, 4th position. Maybe just this is the opportunity now to just up the practice a little bit and take advantage of the other teams perhaps being a bit more lax in that result, right? You know, you hear it a lot of the time actually in Europe, a sentiment where they're not practicing, so why should we? right? That kind of a mentality. And that is just the, you know, the opposite mentality. If you want to try and beat a team that's better than you and improve to a point where you can beat another team ahead of you, you have to do more than them, right? In theory, to be able to catch up and then surpass them. So this perhaps should be the mentality, I think, for a lot of teams going forward if they want to see them improve on EGL on Sundays.
Yep, the practice needs to be that. It is difficult, though. Teams like this, EXES Esports, just so difficult to beat. Getting things off nicely. Pains in the middle. Raised here as well. Oh no, you can't let him do that. Oof. The fact he nearly found a second was scary, but this is now a domination potentially going to be locked in. DeathDancer should be able to secure B. Is going to fall. Is that going to be the domination coming in now? It's going to be a big fight over towards A. That Pains is going to win. Has had to back down though, and PhantomT do survive.
Yes, they do. Ricardo up top, map control for him. And now they are positioned, perhaps, to make plays, right? Map control on Harbor is huge. A big deal. Perhaps more so than training grounds, I would argue at times. All the angles you can achieve and the setup to try and hold on to it. But I say that, Ricardo, why is he still on his own? DeathDancer just wasn't close enough. Ricardo perhaps should have rolled back earlier. That just seemed like a 1v3 for me from the start, Chris, and no one was really just working together or waiting for the teammate to come in.
Yep, not ideal. Really not ideal. Still though, EXES Esports on top and wanting to make the push. I mean, well, Christ is going to make things a little bit easier for them by taking out Crimsons. Is the trade going to come through for Ricardo and Pains? Flash out. Crimsons is going to be on his own, but what can he do? Wow, there's one down. That second one was... Well, the second shot, I should say, absolutely ludicrous. EXES Esports 1-0 up yet.
I think Crazed is a bit of a case study, actually, as to the difference between Gears 4 and 5, right? Crazed now plays in a way that's a little bit more like Bounces and Pains. He's adapted his playstyle to kind of represent what's optimal in Gears 5. The faster players, as some players like to call the speds, right, have come up flying to the top ranks in every region in Gears Esports. Now Crazed has gone from a more methodical, slower player, you know, all the way starting back in Gears 3 and UE, to now a player that is really fast. And he was even pre-bouncing then between two covers before the other team actually got there, right? And it goes to show, right? This is a new game we're playing these days, and Crazed has certainly adapted his playstyle to really compensate and improve and make sure he's in alignment with that. And he's found him in the top team in Europe now. It's great to see.
Yep, back in and amongst it. Mystiques has done well there, though. And he hasn't really taken too much damage from Crimsons. And, well, Crim not wanting to give over a free double kill. We'll deal with him.
An extravagant teabag, perhaps, from Crimson's there. Lovely movement from him.
Did you
Speaking
see...
of fast movement.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of teabags and just general BM, do you see about and this is completely off topic to a certain degree, in a COD Mobile event over the weekend, a team got disqualified for shooting bodies.
No way!
Correct.
Wow.
I know.
Wow,
I mean, we'd have no teams left at all.
This is a promoted aspect in Gears Esports.
8 teams? Goodness me, the world be gone. Anyway, EXES Esports now, they're looking to go 2-0.
I didn't know that. That's a little interesting fact. Wow.
It was
surprising.
It was met with not very good responses from the community. Yeah, people were kind of a bit like,
hello? Yeah, that's quite funny, actually. I didn't think we'd see the day, but we've seen the day. There you go. Snipe up top for EXES. They want to have a little bit of fun now, it seems like. Stretch the legs a little bit. Just like the M-bar and training grounds.
Let's see how much attention there's going to get. Crimson's first through the door. Rest of the team here as well, trying to force the issue as they do not have right hand. Lancer coming out, putting the damage, well, trying to put the damage down. It's hit shots first, but there you go. A player slipped the net. Ricardo comes through, DeathDancer there to clean things up and give the sniper a rowdy. Go on, lad. Oof, not far.
All he needed was a body check to help out his team, but Bounce has been able to take a 1v for some reason on Vision.
Oh!
Finally taken down though. Nice snipe from Death Dancer. Here we go. Can he utilize that snipe now to help out on Harbor? They can regain map control after taking this B hill and then use the snipe to keep heads down and reduce pressure. That would be a big help to PhantomT.
Oh, a little bit of a lull. Pain's gonna fall. Bounce is gonna have to back on down as well. Well played by PhantomT. Crimson's though, the break come through. Potentially here at 8, keeping his team in the round. Vision starting to make the push, he's buttered them up. Before they've even got in, Death Dancer is there and ready though. Can they keep a hold of A here? Yes, they can, but they are losing C now as the respawns come in for EXES Esports. It's been a good start for PhantomT in round number 3.
Crazed is moving. Can Death Dancer find the body check? I wonder, or the headshot. No, Crazed does get to cover. Nestic is on his own. Bouncers will find him. B-Hill retaken. PhantomT with the points advantage. Can they hold on to one? Surely not. No, Cog will take the advantage here. If things do stay this way for the remainder. EXES round. Snipe still in hand for Death Dancer with 2 shots remaining.
He's having a look. Get your head up, Pain's not going to happen. Which way the fight going to go? Bounces finds one, and the second as well. Pain's going to lose his head. Well, not quite. Death Dancer loses his. Cog team win condition is there for EXES Esports on a 2 cap. Can be close as well if PhantomT can get a break yet. Maybe there's something on the cards for them, but the problem is that they're all coming up for the respawn. The domination starting to tick. And that wasn't looking like a round that EXES Esports were going to win, and yet they still do it. 3-0. Looking solid for a 4th week in a row of dominance here in Europe.
It really is. It really, really is. Just such class play from EXES, honestly. It's great to see. You know, despite all that pressure that Death Dancer was putting out by having the snipe for what seemed like the majority of the round, EXES was still just, you know, flexing around the map. They were just walking around, able to take the map control points in the hills as required, and then still winning shotgun fights despite that. And still getting the kills on the board. Bounces 3 rounds have passed. He has 7 caps, 4 breaks, and 10 kills. Really, really good stuff.
Haynes looking to try and find a few more good shots from Death Dancer. He really has been at the races as Rowdy this week, but, well, I mean, the whole team's now in the respawn queue, never mind at the races. EXES Esports get a clean wipe to push over towards C. Haynes, snipe in hand, trying to help his team out. Doesn't need the headshot, but it's Pain, so he will be going for it. Here comes the push now. Looking to help the team out from here. Battle points win your rounds? Not quite sure. Domination's still ticking. Bouncers will find one. There's Pains with a shot as soon as Matt comes off him. Hilarious stuff from that point of view. Gray's trying his best, though, to try and lock things down here with the Lancet. If you're a PhantomT fan, you don't like to see this. They really have been locked in. Gray's trying to push forward. Not going to happen. They will just about survive. I think Pains probably could have pushed up and helped, but why not have a little bit of fun? Looking for another shot. Not going to find it. Now in a tough little spot.
Pain's trying to hold his ground this time, but he's getting 1v2'd again. Perhaps could have rolled back to wait for Crimsons to come up, but nonetheless. Vision dropped. Crimson's fighting back. Lovely job. That's 2 kills down. 2 players down. PhantomT, Cray still pushing. Still looking for that kill. Confident as ever. Left hand disadvantage. He doesn't care. Good first shot on Death Dancer, and he's just closed the gap, looking for that 2 shot. Perfect stuff from Craze. Movement is not going to save him against the Lancer, but the points are clearly in favor of EXES. The reinforcements come in. Pains with the reaction shot. Does trade out, but that should be it. 3 seconds. Nestiques, can he get a no chance at all? 4-0 to EXES Esport.
This is feeling like EXES Esports week again. I mean, PhantomT found 6 rounds in a row on execution previously, so, well, you never know, but that's the disable coming through, yeah. On both sides of things, so there's not going to be anything to play with heading up towards the sniper. But, of course, we're in the second half, so things have switched up. E up towards the top half. And then, of course, D and F down the lower side. Vision, flash out. Crimson's Code going to start making this push in here as well. Which way is this fight going to go? It's definitely going to dictate how the round goes, you feel. And, well, it's been going the same way as it has done the past 4 rounds. Over towards EXES Esports. And the Sticks has done well there. Fair play. We found a second out of Crimson's as well. The second shot not landing. There's going to be a lot of pressure coming in. But he survived long enough to allow the rest of the team to come off respawn and get to within touch and distance of their home hill. Praised. Looking for the shots here. Finds one. Going to be able to find the second, but the rest of the team converging around D. Man knows the second he leaves. Crazed here. He's finding a kill. Oh, he finds the body shot from there. Nicely done. That should be the game, surely. Vision. Left all alone. Praised over to try and help his team find this one and lock this one in. There's another round. There is another week. Sheer class from EXES Esports. Doesn't matter what mode you put them on. The best in Europe right now. 5-0 in map number 4. 3-1 in the grand final against PhantomT. And that is that. Another week for EXES Esports.
What more can you say? An absolute masterclass today in this grand final from EXES. Yes, they lost out on Gridlock 6-3, quite convincingly, in fact. But they bounced back, and boy, did they bounce back hard on Nexus Control. Didn't expect that one. If anything, I thought we thought PhantomT would do better, right, after coming within 5 points last time on that same map, on the third map. Unfortunate for them, of course, that wasn't the case. Shout out to PhantomT, but really, it's all about EXES this week, right? It is all about EXES on both TG, on Harbor. The escalation's clearly in their favor. The dominance was absurd from them. And then the Nexus Control really just showed EXES are the team to beat right now. And it's not just a pure escalation team. They've got pretty much everything on lockdown. Perhaps they need to work a little bit more on execution gridlock to match how good they are on checkout.
Yeah, potentially. But let's have a look at the bracket to see how things did break down this week. Of course, only 8 teams. Would love to see more of you back in and amongst it. But there you go. Fantastic work from EXES Esports once again. Their route through was against Quarry. Also the Frenchman, i.e. Breaker and Cut, and then PhantomT in that grand final. It'll be interesting to see TamTam back next week. Hopefully with everybody only on one roster. And then maybe we can see the grand final that we thought we were going to see. But nonetheless, PhantomT looking to improve every single week and are doing so. Managing to take maps off EXES. But this time it's just hard to see EXES Esports being beaten at this moment in time. So it'll be very, very difficult. I don't see a world where that happens for a little while yet. As I said, TamTam, I think they have the potential definitely to come on through. We know the caliber of the players on that roster. That's kind of where we're looking for the next 4 weeks.
I think so. And that team, again, TamTam have the potential, especially on execution, to fight back against EXES. You know, don't need to mention really escalation after they won split number 2, just with a slightly different roster. Of course, Hydron is in instead of Marsh. They have the potential to be EXES. And like I said earlier, I tweeted out, expecting TamTam to come back with a fiery vengeance after losing last time in the grand final. Unfortunate, how things played out today, but still something to look forward to, and a rivalry that is sure to just get started. Just getting started, I think, in Europe between those. PhantomT, of course, doing really, really well, but perhaps the control practice needs to be up to match how good they are on execution gridlock currently.
Yeah, potentially. But nonetheless, once again, Toby, thank you very much for joining myself this weekend. We'll, of course, see you again next week for week number 5. And hopefully we'll see all of you returning again for week number 5. It's on the line. We've got 4 more weeks to go before the grand final, or the finals, of course, which details are to come of that, of course. And yeah, we'll be back at the same time, same place next week. We'll see you for the stream and for the tournament as well. Thank you to everybody who did hang out in the chat. Once again, we'll see you next week.